Hello, I'm Bruno, and this video is about the communicative language teaching, which is chapter number 9 of the book Techniques and Principles in Language Teaching, written by Diana Larson Freeman. This video is also based on the article Some Misconceptions of Communicative Language Teaching, written by Gia Thompson. In this video, I'm going to talk about the history, principles, and techniques of this method. Communicative language teaching was created in the late 70s. However, it was just a consequence of a process that started in the early 70s, when educators start to ask themselves if they were really teaching students how to communicate in the target language. Therefore, they came to the conclusion that it was necessary something more than just mastering language structures. It was, in fact, necessary to make students perform some functions like inviting, making requests, promising, and etc. That is to say that communicative language teaching aims to make communicative competence the goal of language teaching. Observing the way the communicative language teaching is applied in a classroom, it is possible to infer some conclusions from its application. And this is what I'm going to present now. One principle that is essential in communicative language teaching it is the importance to give students a chance to get in touch with authentic language, which is language as it is used in a real context. A very well-known characteristic of this method is the emphasis on communication rather than just mastering language forms. Which is something important, but it's not the most important thing. Therefore, students should know that one function has many language forms. So, for example, let's imagine a language of inviting people to do something. Yeah, students can practice, for example, do you want to have a cup of coffee with me? Or students can also say, would you like to have a cup of coffee with me? These are two different forms to say the same thing, to communicate the same thing. Another relevant principle of this method it is the fact that the teacher should practice with the students ways to realize what the interlocutor intention is while in the communication process. Students in communicative language teaching must be taught about cohesion and coherence. In other words, they ought to know how to bind sentences together. In this case, activities where they are asked to organize texts, conversations, sentences are useful practice in order to help them to develop this important ability. Students in communicative language teaching must be taught about cohesion and coherence. In other words, they ought to know how to bind sentences together. In this case, activities where they are asked to organize texts, conversations, sentences are useful practice in order to help them to develop this important ability. A largely used resource in communicative classes are games. And they are very important because they have some features in common with real events. So, when the students play games, they have the chance to put into practice the same skills and abilities they use in real situations. They can, for example, work in groups, which maximize the amount of practice they have. By the way, one relevant point optimizing with group activities is the chance students have to negotiate meaning. In other words, discuss with other students about something and improving their communication skills. One of the teacher's major responsibilities in a communicative language teaching class is to give students an opportunity to express their ideas and opinions. A point that can be forgotten by the teacher in a communicative language class is to give the students a context of the communicative event in order to help them to give meaning to their speech. In communicative language teaching, the teacher's goal should be enable students to communicate in the target language. In this case, students know the forms of the language is insufficient. Yeah. In fact, students need to know what is the most appropriate form considering the context. In the classroom, the teacher's role is to be a facilitator and an advisor. When a facilitator, his major responsibility is to create situations likely to promote communication. He is an advisor during activities, answering questions, and also monitoring the students' performances. Now, I'm going to talk about some characteristics of communicative language teaching. The most obvious one is that everything is done with communicative intent. However, according Johnson and Morrow, there are three essential features, and they are information gap, choice, and feedback. Information gap is when in an exchange one person knows something the other person does not. Choice means the speaker needs to have a freedom of choice to decide how he can communicate what he wants to. And feedback is something necessary because if the listener doesn't give to the speaker feedback, the speaker doesn't know if he communicated what he wants to. In this method, the teacher does not interact with the students all the time. In fact, he establishes situations to promote communication among and between the students. And the students do this in different ways, in pairs, in small groups, in whole group. One of the key points to be successful in a communicative language teaching class is motivation. Students should have an opportunity to express their individuality on a regular basis. That's why cooperative activities are very important. They help students to build confidence while interacting with the teacher and other students. So, language in communicative language teaching is viewed as a means of communication. So, students must know that a variety of language forms can be used for different functions, like apologizing, asking permission, expressing wish, and etc. When talking about the role of a mother tongue in a communicative language class, it is valuable to say that the use of the native language is permitted. However, not during communicative activities or while explaining activities to the students. I'm talking about the role of a mother tongue in a communicative language class. It is valuable to say that the use of the native language is permitted. However, not during communicative activities or while explaining activities to the students. Something important to be commented is the way teachers should manage evaluation. Assessment can be informal, for example, analyzing the student's performance in the classroom, or more formal, but always testing their real communication skills. For example, asking them to write a letter to a friend. In communicative language teaching, uh, during fluency activities, errors are tolerated. They are considered a natural outcome of the student's development. However, it's important the teacher note them and return them later with an accuracy-based activity. To finish this video, I would like to say that although communicative language teaching is accepted as the most efficient method among those in general use, as teachers we should be aware in order to avoid some misconceptions frequently related to this method. For example, that one that says that communicative language teaching means not teaching grammar. Yeah. Thank you very much. I hope you have enjoyed it. Bye bye.